you have to hope that it's not a question of, if, but when they're going to catch the suspect. And the tips have been nothing short of spectacular. They've gotten more tips, the most tips the FBI has since the Boston Marathon bombing. Your reaction, sir, this morning?
Yeah, it's certainly what I understand, and they're closing in, right? They're tracking him, and we know what he looks like. So it's really just a matter of time. And let's face it, Cheryl, first of all, it's great being with you on it continues to be a sad week. This was an assault on a very good person, a guy who was committed to the truth, committed to helping youth speak or think differently. It was an assault on open discourse. And if you really think about it, it's like a tale of two cities. It's the best of times, it's the worst of times. Here we have very good things happening in our country, patriotism. Yesterday was 9/11, a day to reflect. We've got an economy that's moving in the right direction. If we could have a debate of ideas, and yet we have the worst of times in that there's some really people that are just plain pissed off. I mean, the left is just angry, and they're trying to silence the ideas, the opposing views. And let's face it, it gets taken to the extreme, not just silence, but kill the truth.
Well, and there was a former FBI profiler, retired profiler, that was on Fox News to that point, and he said this person is an individual who lacks social skills, isolates himself, and has only a loose plan for any next steps. That was James Clement talking to Fox News Digital. And to that point about the radicalization of someone like this, Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna is now calling on Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and TikTok to scrub the graphic videos of Charlie Kirk's assassination from social media. She says TikTok is going to take down the videos after her request. Fox Business reached out to TikTok, haven't heard back. Meta referred us to their video policy where they say, quote, per our violent and graphic content policies, we're applying a Marcus-sensitive warning label to footage of the shooting and are age-gating it to 18 plus. As with similar events, we don't allow content that glorifies, represents, or supports the incident or the perpetrator, and it will be removed. Congressman, this is something that you have in your power, you and your colleagues, to ask these social media companies why, in the age of AI and the billions of dollars that's being spent on AI, that they can immediately take down these videos so that people aren't affected, especially young people who clicked immediately and watched this.
Yeah, there's a lot we need to do with social media. Social media allows all kinds of fraud pages to remain up, the attacks, the personality attacks on young people, and situations like this. And what makes it even worse, Cheryl, you've got 40%, in my estimation, of the left is kind of gleeful over this. Then there's 40% that say, oh, Charlie Kirk brought this on himself. And then thankfully there's 20%, and like people like Nancy Pelosi are actually included, that say, hey, no, this is wrong. This needs to be handled in the appropriate manner. And let's face it, you got what the Yankees did, you got Paul McCartney, you got such a good outpouring of the best of times, and then we still have the proverbial worst of times. Yeah, what Representative Luna is doing, I mean, look, the social media should be decent. Let's look for some decency here and appropriateness, and if they won't do it, the Congress will force them to do it, and then some. We got some serious issues with social media.
Yeah, well, we certainly are wondering what the next steps are for that, and we're hopeful. But I do want to ask you about something that you're working on, and I think this is important. So the U.S. Comptroller of the Currency just released this new guidance. It discourages banks from debanking customers based on political or religious views. You chair the House Financial Services Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee. You're looking to support legislation which would codify President Trump's executive order against politicized or illegal debanking. His son, Eric Trump, was on with Maria talking about himself being debanked. Watch this.
Which banks canceled you? What happened?
Oh, God, everybody. Capital One being the largest. I've sued them recently. Chase canceled us.
Okay, so it was Capital One, because I know that Capital One also canceled Melania Trump, I understand.
And they came after us viciously because my father was in the White House, and they wanted to punish us, right? It was legal lawfare. It was political lawfare. That's exactly what Capital One did. Chase did the same thing. Bank of America did the same thing. TD did the same thing. First Republic did the same thing to us.
So, Congressman, what are the next steps here?
Well, very serious issue, been going on a while. Obama started with a so-called choke, not so-called, that's what they called it, choke point 1.0. They continued it. There were letters put out telling banks not to do business with crypto companies only a year ago. Janet Yellen, the former Secretary of Treasury, put things out looking for MAGA white nationalists. The mining industry, the gas and oil industry, firearms, unfortunately the list goes on, have been targeted, and banks have been not just persuaded or provided guidance, have been threatened and pressured not to do business with those industries. So what we've done is I passed what's called the Safe Guidance Act, telling banks that, look, the past guidance letters you received are not law, they're strictly guidance. Jonathan Gould, the new OCC director, is very much on top of this. Andy Barr, there are others. We're putting together legislation, but it's going to take a little while to unwind because some of these guidance letters and all are actually in the bank's IT systems, and the culture is not necessarily favorable. So we're extremely focused on it. It needs to improve. And Cheryl, it's driving businesses overseas when you do this sort of debanking, like on the mining industry, for instance. And let's face it, what happened with the Trumps and others, they're not alone, is unlawful.
You know, Congressman, I hope that some of your Democratic colleagues will get on board with this, simply because this isn't about which political party is being targeted, because it can be either side. You know, if you put something into the books to stop this practice, both parties in the future benefit. So we're going to be following it. Congressman Dan Meuser, it's always great to see you and speak with you. Thank you for being here.
You too, Cheryl. Thanks
All right.
very much.
We'll be right back. You're watching Mornings with Maria.